Since you were last here, like, I've bought my house off the Earl of Bradford. This character rung up from Cambridge and said, you know, we're coming up to have a chat with you see. And Mr. just forgotten his name, but he liked to look at your steam engines. And I thought, and then Cambridge, you see, they big steam men down there, you know. And they would come up and I'll impress them with my steam engines and then I'll get a bit knocked off price at the house. Anyway, up they came and, you know, it happened to be raining that day, so we didn't bother going to work and we had steamroller taking over in the shed. And this man from Cambridge appeared to be quite impressed and said, well, how much will you give me? Well, in the, you know, for this here house, you see. And I wandered around showing him all the bad points. So there's a 9-inch bulge on the back, you know, and it's a bloody wonder it's not all in the river, you see. And a bit of time went by, and cutting a long story short, like, we got it for £5,000 and all this land and everything, you know. And so now it's up to me to, you know, stop the bloody thing slipping into the river.
Oh, we're at Fred Dibnah's house, and it's a glorious day. I tell you what, it's a lot better than yesterday. And what a place! It's totally like what you see on TV. Nothing's changed apart from I think the curb's got a bit wide and the road's slightly different. The layout's different. But we'll talk about that bit in a minute. But the front still looks the same. Look, all done up, nicely done. Just don't use the front door because the lads who own it at the moment just work round the back and they have it as a car garage. And they have the kitchen as a mess room, but the rest of the house is locked off because they don't want to touch it. Good lads, you know. They know what they're doing. But it's a funny house after he died because everyone tried to turn it into a museum, a B&B, and it just didn't happen. And then he tried selling it for stack loads of money. I think it sold for only over 200,000 in the end. Me and cameraman could have bought it well under our budget. We could have been living here. Thomas Edward buys Fred Dibnah's house. Wouldn't that be good? Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So here it is. It's actually 121, not 124, 121. And it's Earl of Bradford Estate Gatehouse originally. Look, 1839, I think it is. No, 1854 it is, and it's a grand house. It is a proper gatehouse, lovely. And you can see, Fred, I like this. You can see where he's put his big bars and his nuts on it, and he put them in, but the road was more here then, and he's putting them in because his back wall was bulging out, and he had to bring it in.
Right, next one, Donald. You don't fall off there. No. You've got the square bit out the middle.
Well, very.
It don't matter really. Just keep screwing. It'll do that. Right. Oh, that's it. Beautiful.
He was always scared of it falling out, and he heard an explosion one day, and it was a gas explosion, and he thought all the back wall and his house had come out.
I think I was lying in bed and there were one hell of a bang. And I thought, that's it, the backs fell out. The outside 4.5 fell out of the bloody place. And we're under a bit of a misapprehension. It was actually a gas explosion, you know. Like, the wife come running upstairs screaming, no eyebrows, a big hole burnt in front of her dress. Bloody gas cooker had blown up.
But I think a guy came up from down south, and he said, oh, I'm pressing with my tractor engine, and he got his tractor engine out, frapping over, and he got it for £5,000. I think he got a bit knocked off because he'd impressed him so much. But it's lovely, it's a lovely house. It's a well Thomas Edward Street kind of house. And he's got his blue plaque on front, so that's good. Maybe one day T will have a blue plaque like that. But anyway, we want to look at these extensions. So originally it was probably quite a small house because it's only a gatehouse. It would have been really tiny. And it says on the end 1984 when he did the extension, obviously when he got a bit of cash in the bank, he went, oh, do an extension. In his family, he needed more space for his family as well. So the extension was built on the end. And that ball on the end up there, it's not the original ball because it doesn't look big enough. He got this ball and he was stood with one of his guys. Someone found it, some teacher's house, and he think he'd sell it. And he's looking over at wall with this big ball in some guy's garden. He said, well, next to Fred, he said, well, he's a teacher and he's always talks about bringing his children out your yard, Fred, and we'll maybe get that as in exchange of payment.
Oh, do you think we'll get it off him, like, you know?
I don't know. I'll have a word with him. I'll probably see him tonight anyway. I'm doing a job for this guy here.
Yeah.
When I came up last time, I spotted it in the garden. I didn't say anything to him then.
Yeah.
But that's the one. It's perfect.
Yeah, it'll be just right. Proportions, won't it, for top of gable end?
Could do with two of them, really. Well, there's another one somewhere.
Yeah. You think we can get it off him?
Oh, I think so, because I know the guy who owns this place.
Yeah.
And he's a teacher, you see.
Yeah.
And I know that in fact, he mentioned he'd like to bring the kids down to your yard to see the engines, you see. So I can work a deal in. But if he brings the kids down, if you feel that you have his stone ball, then sort of payment, if you like.
Yeah, I'm game if he is.
And there's actually a video putting that up, but I don't think it's original ball. It's slightly different, and it's got a tapered diamond top on it, hasn't it? But it's great, isn't it? It's amazing. It's blowing the TE mind, it is.
Got us all. Right.
Well, got it on that.
Yeah.
On that pin.
Oh, wait a minute, we might all end up with big what's this, have you? Okay.
So, that's it.
How's that?
Superb.
Yeah.
How's it look?
Looks all right from up here. Yeah.
Oh, it's terrific, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot better than the other thing. Let's go downstairs and have a view
across the road.
Yeah. Don't think it'll blow away so easy, will it?
Oh, 1984. That's when he did this extension. And he had all scaffolding round here on TV. It was good. And he's putting his ball up. And he's going in and he gets that nice sort of industrial scene and he puts it on top of his bed when it's all finished. And he's been up all night doing all his sanding and his floorboards. But on the back, I don't think it's on this side, on the back, these bits above his windows and the lower bits of his windows are all old tombstones that some vicar gave him because he was struggling, because it's a listed building. He had to build it exactly as a listed building. He needs certain rules you go by. So he was really struggling on stuff like this on the back. So a vicar gave him a load of tombstones. That's quite cool. It's rocking America, that is, isn't it?
The place is getting a bit overcrowded now, and like we'd decided that we'd build a new wing on it, you see. And so the thing is, with it being a listed building, everything's got to look just right. And so you've got to have second-hand bricks. So after many a month of looking round at second-hand bricks and various buildings that were about to have the big hammer, we found these about 10 houses in one row, and 6 of them had never been messed about with. They'd never been pointed or anything. And the bricks were perfect, you see, a perfect match for the existing ones. So we went with 2 Land Rovers, the wife, me, Donald, and father-in-law, and another lad, and we literally took the front out of 6 of them and brought it back here to build the place out of. And then the lad who did the drawings got carried away, you see, with all this fancy stonework, you know, and stone's expensive stuff, and we had another windfall. We met this vicar who said, you know, I've got all these gravestones here, like, you know, you can have them if you'll shift them. And so, you know, there now are the window heads, the mullions and the window bottoms. The thing is that, you know, I'm a bit worried in case the bloody place will be haunted when it's finished.
But I was just having a look through the back. You might not be able to see, but in this window here, you won't be able to see. In this window is his trap door above his stairs, and that's when it was counterweighted on there was a drain pipe on the back weighting it. So when it pulled down, the weight would go up, and then when it went back, the weight would go back down. And it's through the back wall. And apparently he stored a bit of gold in there. You know, he liked his gold bars. As a bit of show, that's old school showbiz in a way. Even though Fred didn't like showbiz because it kept him out of his shed, he wanted to be in his shed rather than doing showbiz. But he had gold bars. That's showbiz. That is having a few gold bars tucked away. When he was running out of cash, he'd get one of them out, go and get milk that, and get some readies out. So there you go. The cameraman actually's been here a few months ago and actually been in the house. Now the owner isn't about today, so he can't get in the house. But the thing is, I wouldn't film in there anyway because it's someone's house. Someone owns that. I'm not going to go around filming it. I know a few people have, but I'm not going to do it. It's private dwelling at the end of the day, and that's bottom line. So we're not going to do that. So just thought we'd film outside and just film over at fence and backyard, and then we're off to see his grave next. I think that's the plan because he's only over the back. So we'll go and do that next. That's his house. I've touched his house. I can feel the power. We're at Tongue Cemetery. It's just round the corner from Fred's house. It's actually in Woods, the house. He always said he always fancied getting fired into the river in a coffin. That's what he always said. But anyway, we come in for the main entrance up there, and you come through the big grand gates and some cobbles, and then it goes onto tarmac. And then you come down along straight, and your first left is this here. And you come down your first left. And actually on the corner of the first left is where he was talking. He was leaning against the stone, and he was talking about there's actually a man in here who was eaten by a lion. And the first man in Bolton.
My house is sort of just over there behind all them trees. Like in between there and here, there's the river. And then this, of course, is the cemetery, you know, where we'll all end up eventually. In here, actually, somewhere, there's the first and I think only man in Bolton to be killed by a lion. It seems that they'd not quite got the preparations right. Like they got this big cage at the local Wakes Week thing in 1890 something, and they had these braziers with big long iron rods, you see, and somebody forgot to light the bloody fires, you know. Like, anyway, the lion got the man, and there were no iron rods, red hot iron rods for get him off him, and so he ended up in here, poor fella, you know.
So he was up there talking about that, and he was talking about the tombstones that were in the river when you had a great flood, and it ripped some of the tombstones, so you can still see them in the riverbed.
They had a big flood once, and it washed one or two of them down the river, you know, like the corpses there is. The thing is that, you know, I don't know whether there's any truth in it or not, I don't know, but I know down in that riverbed there's all sorts of gravestones.
And then you get to this junction here and you can park to it right, and where T's brothers stood behind me, that's where his grave is. It's not grand as you'd think it'd be, it's very subtly done. It's quite good, it's how I would have it. And he's just up there, so we'll go and have a look. Oh, Fred Dibnah, remember, 1938, MBE 2004, much loved steeplejack. Wow, look at all his spanners, what people have left him. Look at all his spanners, huh? It's good, isn't it? All his fans have come, and bits of family and that. Pretty good, isn't it? Just in Tongue Cemetery in Bolton, it's just a nice little grave, not much around him. There's probably someone here, but there's no headstone on it. And that's, you know, it's just there. You just think all those celebrities, like in America, if this was in America, you'd have a massive, like he always said, he fancied the chimney, didn't he, of his gravestone?
Gums, you know, I think you couldn't really find a more peaceful and nicer cemetery than this, you know. It's nice and quiet, you know, they cut the grass regular. Not that you'd notice, like, when you're 6 foot under, but it's much nicer than being turned into a little plastic bag or a tin can full of fag ash, isn't it? And Sort of besides, I wouldn't mind building my own gravestone, you know, like make one like a chimney with a staging round the top, you know, lightning conductor on and everything. Very fancy, you know, one with a beautiful fancy top on it.
But in America they would do that, they'd go over the top with it, but us being Brits, we're very sort of like it just right and just nice and not a lot, we don't like shouting about ourselves, that's what I'm trying to say. So there you go, and it's good, isn't it? So that's, if you want to come here, Tongue Cemetery, Bolton, you come through main gate, you come along there, first turning on your left, and you come down, and then you get to behind us. Park up on the left, Livia R&B's parked down there, and you come, get to there, and you just walk straight up here, and it's there, slap bang. But I want to show you something on his grave, what's a bit of, not many people see when they come and see it. And always remember, when you come in a graveyard, never step on people's things, you've got to step over them. It's like when you walk over trees, you never step on the roots, because that's their feet. So you always jump round them, always up the middle. So, at the back here is, you probably have to point, there's a gold spanner there, little gold spanner. Not many people find that when they come here. It's sort of, as Greg Billington, one of my patrons, so that's an Easter egg, that. It's got a little gold spanner on the back. I just think they came here with his tractor engine and with his coffin on back, and it's filmed in here somewhere on these roads. Pretty good, isn't it, when you come back all these years later to see the lay of the land, I like that word, to see the lay of the land of how it all happened with TA. So there you go, there's his grave. So we come to Deansgate in Bolton, or Boughton, and to this bit of shrubland here with a few trees on, what look like they've been here a bit longer than 40 years. And this is the location of where Bernardo's charity shop was on here. What joined up to that building now, it's like a terrace along here, and it was Fred Dibnah's first proper showbiz, as I like to call it, where he turned up with got a tractor engine, came up there, and I've weighed it all up to find this location. He came up here, stopped at the side of the curb here and got off. There's all these women around the Bernardo's, and it had this red tape across the door, and he got the gold scissors and cut it, and he went, I haven't done anything like this before.
Right, not stay behind. Where is it? Then, good morning.
It's very nice to see you again. Thanks very much for coming.
You got the scissors?
Yes, I have got the scissors. On behalf of Bernardo, thank you very much for coming. I'd like to first of all give you a badge.
You got the champagne?
Now, Bernardo, help her. If you'd like to step this way, the ribbon awaits.
Morning.
Hooray!
Never done anything like this before, you know.
restaurant.
Yeah, you're right, love, there is. Oh, yeah.
And the lady in the background said, "There's always the first." And he went, "Yeah, you're right, love." And he cuts it and he gives the scissors back, and then he's inside talking with them, drinking champagne. Drinking champagne. Oh, there's another one. Oh, it's all going on. He was drinking champagne and he was telling all these women in Bernardo's that tractor engines don't answer back. You just hit him with a hammer, you know. And his first wife, Alison's there, just laughing at the side of it.
I now pronounce this venture duly well and going, you know. Ah, put the claw sign the other way around.
Right.
That's
Right.
it.
Thank you very
Oh.
much.
Oh, yeah, love, you can have your scissors back. Put your finger over it, all quick.
Oh, you just think
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good help.
Cheers.
Traction engines are good things, they don't answer back, you know. You can hit them with the hammer, you see. And they don't send out, you know.
How much time do you spend on your traction engine?
Oh,
Well, it's breakfast with it, it's dinner with it, it's tea with it, and then back out.
And it's in here, somewhere in here. There was a charity shop along here and it's all been kaput. It's been demolished and all gone. There you go, that's another location what's never been documented on YouTube in 2022 or in the modern generation. It's very much busy now. Lots of cars about and lots of fire engines going past. And we're just behind us here, if you want to find it. This is Deansgate. Our car's parked at car park over there, you might be able to see it. And that car park's 124 Deansgate. You put it on your Google map. And then on the corner's the Greyhound, and then there's the Hen and Chickens is up there. So that pub on the corner there, and that pub there, the Hen and Chickens, is actually on the Fred Dibnah episode. You can actually see it. And it picks its feet up and it turns into a big, as Fred said, it's a 10-ton sledge. And it was down that back hill there, and we'll show you what he hit into now.
you know, I think you couldn't really find a more peaceful and nicer cemetery than this, you know. It's nice and quiet, you know, and they cut the grass regular.